Hey everyone, my name's C.Leininger and I'm a first grade teacher at Matt Arthur Elementary School. I wanted to make a quick video just to share with you the success of my students after implementing secret stories in my room. I started using secret stories about 3 years ago in my classroom, and the reason why I started using it was because I saw that it was such a fun and engaging way for students to learn phonics, and it didn't seem daunting. And as a teacher, it was really exciting to share all of these secrets with my students because I knew that they were going to go back home and tell their parents about what they had learned while also spreading the news with their friends. Sometimes it might feel a little bit overwhelming, or at least it does for me as a teacher whenever I'm learning how to implement something new in my room, but I promise you with secret stories it's so easy. When you first get your secret stories, you want to make sure you find a spot in your room that students can easily look at without needing to get up from their desk or from wherever they're sitting at the carpet. And so for my room personally, it's this wall, and this is my math wall, but that's okay because this wall is huge and there's nothing that interrupts the flow of the secret stories. Also, when I first got my kit, all of these were squares, but I ended up getting all of the cards laminated, and then I cut them down just so that they would better fit on my wall, and that's worked for me. Another thing that I like to do is I like to put the vowel stories with the vowels with my alphabet. So I put those two together and I refer to it throughout the day. I think your students are gonna love hearing all of these secrets, but one of my students' favorite secrets out of all 3 years that I've been teaching this has been the secret story of AU and AW. And they have a crush on each other, if you did not know that. So they have a crush on each other anytime they're next to each other in a word, and they get really embarrassed and they start blushing. You can see their cheeks are blushing, and see how A is holding out her hand and she's like, oh. And so anytime they're together, I teach my students that AU and AW normally say the sound ah. And so this is great because it helps students with simple words like the word saw, but it also helps with more challenging words like draw or taught. And that's another secret. They learn about GH when they're together, and how they can make different sounds in different parts of a word. But it also helps them with larger words like exhaust and automatic. So that's one of their favorite secrets. And of course, when my students hear that they've unlocked a secret, that is like big news in this classroom. Sometimes whenever I'm teaching certain subjects, I'll come across a word that has stumped my students. And so for example, if I'm in math and this is our word problem and my students are stuck on the word straws, I could take 2 minutes to really quickly make a huge deal about unlocking a secret and teach the secret AW and AU, and then continue on with my math lesson. My students all gasp and they say, oh, you unlocked another secret. What's the secret? Because they're always so excited. I promise your students are going to be hooked if you sell this to them. So I always go to my desk and I have this in a special little spot that my students know about. Some teachers put this in a binder and they have like detective gear that they wear, which is a really great idea. But I pull this out and I say, do you want to know the secret about AW, like in the word straw? And my students always say, yes, I want to know. And so I show them, and we just learned the secret, so hopefully you remember. I tell them that AW and AU, anytime they're together, they have a crush on each other, and they get so embarrassed, and they say, oh. And so my students know to put their hands side by side, and they say, oh. And so I have my students stand up really quickly, and I have them do the motions as well. And they think it's so funny. You know, kids are funny about crushes and everything. And so that is it. That's the lesson. And then I go on to teaching math. And it took 2 seconds, maybe like 2 minutes. And then I tell them at the end of the day, remember earlier today we learned about the secret story, AW and AU, and anytime they're together, what do they say? And my students will say, ah. And I say, what did they do when they're standing side by side? And they do the motion, and I always encourage them to go home and share it with their parents as well as any friends, because we want our friends to be great readers. Not only does your kit come with the larger cards, but you also get these miniature cards, and I'll go into more depth about that later. So this is what I was talking about, the miniature card of AU and AW. And this is great because if you're working with a small group, you can have this out on a binder. You can have it in like the card sleeves that they sell, the baseball card sleeves. However you want to organize this, that's whatever's best for you. And you can whip these out anytime. This book comes with a CD as well, and there's songs with the lyrics in the book. There's also a letter that you can send home to parents. I like to do a message on Dojo, just letting the parents know at the beginning of the year what Secret Stories is all about. And I highly encourage parents to be involved in this, and when their child comes home, to ask about the story that they learned. And then anytime I teach a new phonics skill, I always message the parents, letting them know, like, hey guys, today we learned about CH. Please ask your child when they come home, what is the story about CH? What sound do they make when they're together? And what is the motion that they make when they're together in a word? And so I always have students coming back the next morning, letting me know that they shared that with their parents. Another great thing about Secret Stories is that you do not have to learn a curriculum in order to teach this. There's no specific order, so I know with a lot of phonics curriculums you have a scope and sequence, which is important, but with Secret Stories you're able to unlock certain phonics skills that students might not learn until they're in 2nd grade. So as a 1st grade teacher, this is great because I'm able to give early access to my students. What I do love about this book is all of the secrets are in red, and then we have in the back, you have all of the words that go with the secret, not all of the words, but just an example of some words that go with the secrets. And so in the hallway, you might want to have a whiteboard ready and a marker. And so like if we're in the cafeteria waiting in line, or if we're waiting in line for the restrooms, I'll have my whiteboard and marker, and I'll write out some words and have my students decode the words in the hallway. Or my students will go on a Secret Stories hunt in the hallway, and they'll notice certain words that have the secrets that we've learned in class, and that's always super exciting. Y'all know one of the best things about being a teacher is when it finally clicks for your students. You see the light bulb goes off, and you're gonna see so many of those light bulb moments with Secret Stories. You're gonna see where it carries over in their writing, and you're gonna see where they gain confidence as readers. You're gonna see that they are becoming better at reading directions or reading signs in the hallway, or just even in the car. I've had parents reach out to me. One mom was so excited that her son went to the doctor's office, and she was like, he was able to read the paper that the doctor gave me, and I started crying in the middle of the doctor's office because of those Secret Stories. So I can't wait for you to have such a successful year with this really awesome resource that you're gonna start using next year. Lastly, I just wanted to say thank you so much for listening. I know that you have a lot going on right now, trying to get your classroom ready, but if you ever have any questions, or if you have some really cool ideas that you wanna bounce off, or just share what you're doing in your room, I love hearing new things and learning from others, because remember, we're all in this together, and I hope you have a super fabulous school year. Bye.